The weather finally, well, it was still below freezing when I when I got up this morning. The boat didn't freeze up, but and the river is starting to thaw. But we had that interesting conversation some weeks ago with a climatologist about how, because the Arctic is warming 4 times faster than the mid-latitudes in North America, that temperature gradient, the difference in temperature between the North American air and the Arctic air, that gradient, that difference in temperature is not as great as it was just 20 years ago. And, of course, with a storm, like when a cold front moves through, the cold air behind and the warm air in front, the difference in the two temperatures is what determines how strong the storm is, how great the winds are. And so if you got really warm air or really cold air, you're going to have a really big storm. If there's only a few degrees difference, you might get a few raindrops. Similarly, the temperature gradient between the North American air mass, or the northern hemisphere air mass, and the polar air mass used to be, the difference in temperature used to be quite substantial, and it kept the jet stream up to the north. It has declined substantially because the polar regions are warming 4 times faster than our region. The planet itself has warmed about 1.4 degrees in the last 50 years, and Celsius. And so the consequence of this is that, all this polar air is slopping down on top of us. Totally counterintuitive. Global warming is making it colder. Now, into this steps the folks who say, well, gee, let's dump more carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Daniel Weber is with us, the founder of the Association of Mature American Citizens. AMAC.us is their website. Daniel, welcome to the program.
Tom, thanks for having AMAC on, and I appreciate this discussion.
So, I spent some time on your website. I read your article, We Need a New Energy Policy, which people can read at amac.us. And it seems to me rather frankly disturbing. You're using the bubble in North Dakota, which happens whenever, large deposits of oil get discovered, and you haven't had enough time to get workers there and infrastructure there, to suggest that if we only let the oil industry go nuts, everybody would be making $50 an hour, and that more carbon in our atmosphere is going to be more jobs. I think it's going to be more. It is going to be in a lot more jobs. It'll be in a lot more jobs rebuilding places like the damage from Hurricane Sandy and the damage from Hurricane Katrina and the damage from the mile-wide tornadoes. And
yeah, Tom, I think the science is out on that stuff, but you know what I think we would both agree on is solar.
Science is not out. The science is in, Daniel.
What causes the ice cap in Iceland to melt?
Heat.
Not carbon dioxide, but minute particles of dark material that attracts the sun, that leaves little puddles on the ice. The puddles become bigger, and the puddles draw more energy and causes the ice to melt further.
The diminished albedo effect is one of multiple factors, Daniel. But if you bothered to read the IPCC report, you'd see that it's actually it's a much smaller factor than the fact that we now have more than 400 parts per million of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere, a number that has never been reached in the history of the human race.
Well, tell me what caused the ice over Manhattan, which was 1 mile thick, 10,000 years ago, to melt.
It had nothing to do with human activity.
So my point is, let's talk about
tell me what caused the great dying off 250 million years ago in the Permian mass extinction.
Hey, do you want to talk about solar and wind?
Well, the point I want to make is that if you're saying that the science is out, you're wrong.
Well, we can argue about that. But
no, we can't. There is no argument. The science is in. Global warming is real. Global warming is being caused by greenhouse gases in large part, and as you correctly point out, soot in the air, which is the result of burning these fossil fuels as well. And you're arguing that we should have more of this, and that seems to me like not just suicidal, but actually homicidal toward future generations.
I'm not. I'm saying solar and wind.
This is not what I'm reading. What I'm reading here is that you're saying
temporary.
Weber believes the federal government needs to reconsider. We need to reconsider our green agenda in light of the technological progress the energy sector has made.
The short term, we've got to lower energy costs for American families.
Why?
And we've got to because American families want to live better.
So instead of lowering energy costs, why don't we put the same amount of, instead of giving subsidies to the oil industries, why don't we help people insulate their homes?
Okay, but let's talk about replacing the carbon-causing energy with solar and wind. And tell me why the Interior Department has put a ban on 30 million acres for solar and wind. They've only allowed 600,000 acres to be used. They just built a 5-square-mile solar collector in New Mexico, which is going to work. It's going to heat or provide energy for 70,000 homes, and it works. And I like solar. And yet the Interior Department is saying, no, we got 30 million other acres, and the federal government is not allowing private enterprise to develop it for wind.
Are they allowing on those 30 million acres, are they allowing us to develop it for, say, office buildings?
No, but we need
it's pristine. You're talking about Yellowstone. I mean, of course they're going to say, no, you're not going to turn it into a solar collector.
We're talking about vast wastelands all over the country, and you know that.
Vast wastelands that are part of our national heritage and that are part of our natural ecosystems.
Tom, the problem is this administration does not want to follow the law.
That's nonsense. This
administration. Federal judge found the Interior Department contempt of court for continuing to slow down the Gulf of Mexico drilling permits. I mean, I can go on and on and on.
Yeah, I know. You want more drilling. You want more fossil fuel. That if the administration is trying to stop that, I'm all in favor of it.
I like natural gas because that's a very clean. And we need to.
No, the study that came out this week shows that it's not clean. It's actually producing roughly the same amount of greenhouse gas as all the other forms because of the leakage because of fracking. You've got this enormous amount of leakage that is more than making up for, so these green buses that are burning natural gas, they're putting the same amount when you consider the leakage from the CO2. And not only that, the fracking's poisoning our water supplies.
Yeah, can I talk briefly about the Olympics real quick?
Certainly.
Okay, Lindsey Vonn, the downhill ski racer, she had to be replaced in the Olympics. And you know who they wanted to replace her with?
No.
Barack Obama. You know why?
No.
Because he's going downhill faster than anybody. And part of it is the lack of energy policy. We need to have an energy policy to lower the cost for American families.
Did you hear the president's speech today?
Pardon me?
Did you hear the president's speech today about energy policy?
I've been working all day. Actually, I've been busy working all day.
Okay. Well, the president gave a speech today about his energy policy in which he suggested that we should be dialing back. In fact, not suggested. He's instituting policies that are going to require cars to be more fuel efficient.
Order without Congress again, ignoring our Constitution?
You mean the way Ronald Reagan did and George W. Bush did?
The issues
more times than Barack Obama has?
And I'm not saying I agree with that either, Tom.
Yeah, well, it is within the it's not explicitly laid out in the Constitution that a president can sign an executive order, but he is given the authority. He's given the job of carrying out the laws. How do you do that without an executive order?
And we're on the same side on that.
I guess. Daniel Weber is the founder of the Association of Mature American Citizens, amac.us is the website. Daniel, thank you for dropping by today.
Great talking, Tom.
Okay, good talking with you, too. We'll be right back.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
Which side are you on, boy? Which side are you on? I'm not going to try and sing it, but you know the song. We'll be back.